residents need to know all that information.
Why so?
I don't think it's in the business.
Well, I think it's taxpayer money, and I think taxpayer money is being spent, I think it is.
So anytime when we spend taxpayer money, we don't need to go into closed session.
There are certain things that I think need to be in closed
Collective
session.
bargaining generally is closed session. Until you get collective bargaining is generally closed session, and then you go.
It is.
Then you come out, and then you, but in open session, you have to vote on what you agreed to.
Hey, isn't it? That's all I need.
I need my signature on there, Jeff.
Yes, each of you will sign the signature.
sheriff
today.
will? Okay.
Everybody will.
Oh, okay.
This is for the union, this is for all of the employer, Massac County Sheriff. So we'll have each of you sign, actually you sign the very first spot as the chairman, we need 4 signed.
Did you get that email I sent you?
I haven't had a chance to even look at it yet. Yeah, I did get it.
The attachments on there this time.
Okay, good deal.
I sent it to Jeff as well, so.
Put it online and then everything.
It's like a pretty busy agenda. I don't know if it's planned.
Back page 2 or not?
No, just which one?
Just one.
Is that for the fiscal year of 2015?
Yes.
You're fine there, if you just have Pastor Gerald sign there and then Jason sign on the next page.
Do we want to just, since she's here now, Michelle, do we want to touch on that IEMA fund grant?
It's up to you.
Discuss that. I have Jeff to learn.
Whatever you can do, it's fine by me.
Just this last page.
Actually,
This
if you
is
sign,
everything, that is just, well,
you sign right there, yeah.
If you could just hit the highlights of it real quick for Michelle. Michelle's gotta be more
Me?
timely here at 8:30. No,
Or her.
Patrick.
that's all.
Went to get on Michelle
That's all
alarm
I
clock
need.
there for her house.
And there'll be 3 more.
Does it work? That's not down.
Sign right
Been
there.
out flying a drone.
Sounds like it's fine.
It'll be fine.
Just 3 or all 4 of them?
Would be 4.
Today's day.
Yes. We received an IEMA grant proposal related to the flood damaged properties, 2 on Unionville Road, 1 on Belgrade Road, from the flooding in 2011. The amount of the grant is $275,123. The requirement is a 75% federal match, 25% non-federal match. The county may be responsible for up to that 25% non-federal obligation. There may be other funds available to cover the county's obligation.
So then the county would buy out those properties that were flooded?
Correct. And be required to mitigate the flooding, potential flooding damage, which would mean destruction of any structures, and we'd be bound not to build any structures on that property that were permanent. Could be used for such things as parks or temporary enclosures, but not anything permanent.
And it can be sold, correct?
Can be sold, but
With that stipulation.
the buyer would be bound as well. That was discussed, but has not yet been, the county board has not yet approved it. I'm going to get a copy for each of the board members to review, and then we may have to speak with Mr. Hand regarding his role in implementation.
Thank you for repeating that.
No problem, no problem at all. I'll get you a copy of that before we leave today. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, I think so.
I hadn't talked to her.
That's one I wanted to.
Well, she's taking 3 days off this week. She was sick, I think, Thursday
I
and
knew
Friday.
it was sick, and then I thought I seen where her grandson moved his on.
Mhm.
Too bad, I think we received everything for month, except for the supervisor of assessments reimbursements, and I think we're waiting on this. Start all over again.
What's gonna happen next weekend? I think next week's payroll.
I think so.
Is it?
Yeah.
Better get on the
Every
ball.
other week.
Makes it all worthwhile.
Y'all been staying busy with the taxes?
Yes, that's the only thing. My first installment's due this Thursday. Know anybody wanna get the word out if they was bringing that whole tax bill, that would help expedite everybody faster.
Bring in their tax bill.
Thank you, Daryl.
You might need that.
Whole
Oh.
tax?
Here's my mom. I'll just make a receipt.
Okay.
There should be 2 of them.
I've already paid mine.
I know.
You got mine. I had one.
And I'm holding on to mine to first, so
I
I'm
don't blame you.
gonna hold on to one thing.
I don't blame you.
All right.
Thank you.
Better be digging up
Oh,
some money, I have some mad people next week.
Do we wanna discuss with her about maybe making a separate line item
Oh, yeah.
for that building?
Janet, or is going to pay, she's paying the whole amount, is that, did I understand that
We're gonna
correctly?
sign the
For the rest of the
contract
year.
this Thursday to purchase that building. And it was like for $1 or something.
$1, $10, whatever it is.
But she's gonna go ahead at that time and give us the full payment of the lease through June of next year, because that's her last day. So we would like to put that money in a separate account just for that building, so we can continue to pay utilities. Anything that needs to be paid out of that, because they're paying the lease. That way we have the money separated, it doesn't get mixed up. So we could somehow figure out how we wanna do that, make sure it's done right.
I will get to working on it, and then you get me a check and I'll take it to the
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the time.
And Joe, I'll need to get with you on that. If we do that, we probably need to come in and amend the budget at some, just a little bit of future point.
Okay.
Because we will be expending, won't we be expending out of that before the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, monthly
Yeah.
utilities and stuff. We're out with that.
I'll get it done.
Never ever ran across something like that.
Come to the hot seat. Don't look much, do you? That's a good thing, isn't it?
Mine ain't it today.
Nothing going on.
A whole lot. I mean, obviously, as everyone probably knows, we haven't started the bridge, but it's supposed to be tomorrow. They delayed another few days because of the hot weather.
I didn't know what the deal was. So they got their beams?
But yeah, they're pretty well set. The first thing they've got to do is grind piling on the north of Butler before they actually take the bridge out. Because of that power line that goes over and the long span, they gotta do that first before they take the bridge out. And
They're gonna work on the bridge. They're gonna be sitting on the bridge probably when they do that, ain't they?
partially, yeah, partially. That's why they, the tire company wasn't crazy about backfeeding that power when it was so hot out, so they didn't want to start Monday. It's gonna be just as hot tomorrow.
Whatever, huh?
Whatever, yeah, I'm not in charge of that, so that was the excuse I heard the other day, so. Nevertheless, they said they're gonna be here tomorrow. That may change again later today, but
Do they have some type of contract that they have to have it done by a certain time? Once they start, or how does it work?
they've got a certain amount of working days whenever they start.
So once they start tomorrow, it starts the working day start then? How many days? Is that 60 days, 90?
They've got, I think they've got 40 working days.
So Monday through Friday?
Not guys and get in there and start doing it, they're gonna get it done. as quick as
How's it,
they can.
how's it gonna affect the farming community since it's getting postponed?
Big time.
Is it?
Yep. It'll be a huge hassle out there.
Cause you'll have to go around,
A lot of it, I mean, there'll be a lot of trucks on, what is it?
Mermet Road, probably.
Is it Mermet Road that goes in front of Marvin Cordy's, Steve Cordy's?
That'll be.
What are we gonna do to fix that road? Wait till next summer?
Fix it? There's nothing really wrong with it other than,
There
that
will
one
be.
bridge there was pretty shaky, but that one's slated to be fixed here.
It's fixed to get an extra, I don't know, 200,000 bushel of grain hauled across it, that wouldn't have been hauled across it. It would have been hauled on a truck route, wouldn't it? Isn't that a truck route going up the hill and back through? You know, I don't, I guess it'd be all right. It ain't
It's
like
like a
it's,
time of year to do it. It's
it
dry.
ain't like it's freezing and thawing, but
Yeah, it's dry as can be, and about as hard as it's ever gonna get.
just, I think it just is what it is. Isn't it? I mean, Hey, how does the, how do you decide when you mow, as far as, I had a guy wasn't mad, he was just curious, is there, do you mow county highways first and then go back and mow?
Yeah, our procedure that we've been following for years is at the beginning of the mowing season, we mow one pass on county highways. And then we start mowing the old and chip roads. And then usually after that, we either go back and mow county highways again, or we start mowing gravel roads, depending on how quick it's growing and but usually, in a nutshell, we'll mow one pass on the county highways, and then at sometime later in the year, we'll go back and mow the entire county highway right-of-way out to the fences. And depending on how it's growing, there may be a third pass on county highways as far as one pass, a third of the time. If it's too dry and it's not growing, then we don't usually do that third time on the county highways. But old and chip roads usually get, depending on the season, 1 to 2 times. You know, one time all the way through, and then if it's growing again, like it is this year, we'll probably have to go, we're going through again right now on oil and chip roads. We're going our second time on it. Gravel roads usually get one pass, and if it's really severely bad where it's growing up real bad, we may consider going a second time on gravel roads too.
I'm just curious, the guy that was asking me that, the tar and chip road, I think they paid to have a tar and chip years ago, and is out close to the county line. There's roughly a quarter mile of gravel past the tar and chip. They'll stop on the tar and chip and leave,
Yeah,
and
we
then
usually
truck all the way back there
Right, we
to
usually
mow that little dab.
on the gravel because it's, you probably know it's pretty harsh on the blades and everything. We try to get everything that's not as harsh on the blades first, and then go through and do gravel.
They're not
and
supposed to be
then
mowing the rock, they're supposed to be mowing the weeds.
kind of stopping and then either lacing blades or sharpening blades again, and then go back to the paved surfaces.
He was just curious.
oil and chipping, or is that the?
You know, we're getting close to being done, but I mean, we're probably 3/4 of the way done.
We are working at, I mean, now we're part of the county.
Right now, we're making our way towards the east. We're past Highway 145 on the northern part up there. Filter our way back towards Unionville. As soon as we get down that way, there's gonna be it. There's a lot of, as we suspected, there's a lot of bad places, and we're not gonna have capability of covering every single square inch of bad surface, and we're getting the worst
Because
parts.
of, just running out of supplies, or just
Around money.
money? Do you know, I don't know for sure, did the school district buy that house, as you exit the high school on the Old Marion Road, didn't they buy that or went to it now? Have y'all noticed how high the grass has got there lately? I don't know why they're not maintaining it. I don't know, I will talk to them.
Did he ever go back in and get that concrete that?
I don't know.
They said they couldn't mow it.
No.
They left the footing or for some reason it was high concrete.
Like the foundation, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, then, could they mow the whole yard except the foundation?
I guess you could.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was standard or what, I don't know.
I didn't know if he once called you complaining about it, or, I mean, I know it's not our responsibility.
Somebody talked to me about it back at the beginning of this summer, but that's really, I'm not sure if that's considered in the city limits or not, the road is.
Well, the mayor talked to us about it too, but, I mean, it's really, visibility is gonna be tough for the kids pulling out, you know, I don't know, we'll say something to, is it Dennis Smith, the new superintendent, that is, I think it's who it is.
I'd say it might be just a communication breakdown. I think if you go talk to him,
Yeah.
he'll get
'Cause
somebody on it.
it's really high,
You can weed eat it. That's not a very big lot. If you had to, you could weed eat it.
yeah, yeah.
It's
They could
nothing.
practice football on it and wall it down pretty quick.
They could do something, but it just shocks me.
Well, you know, people need to be punished now, so.
Nobody's talking about it.
Okay, thank you.
See if it might make sense to you. You know where Midland Drive's at, right? There's water standing in this ditch, you know, whether it's a septic tank or whatever it is, but this guy would like to have this ditch where it drain. There's all kinds of fall here. I don't think it'd take much ditch in there to.
I know we did some, we must.
He said they had dug on the north side of the road a year or 3 ago. Well, maybe that's where he was digging. He said it was north of there, but anyhow, I thought it was on the north side of Midland, maybe it wasn't. You won't mind him getting any map.
He wants to ditch on the south side of that.
Yeah, the water, I mean, there's a lot of fall along. It won't take you a heck of a lot of ditch to get to some real fall. I've heard of it. I don't remember. Anything else for Joe?
You know, there's been something else kind of brought to my attention, and I've been, I don't know exactly, I wrote a letter, but I haven't sent it to anybody yet. I haven't passed it to you. Somebody recently has built a mailbox in the right of way. It's brick. And
It's the one on North Avenue.
I know there's one there too, type of thing. This one is actually same, looks almost the same, like the same type of construction. But this one is actually the bottom of our ditch, because of filling where else to put it, that's where it has to be. But the size of the brick and everything, they put 2 tiny PVC pipes underneath it, drain, but that's not a combination for water to come down through there. It could cause a drainage problem, but, you know, those types of mailboxes are really not, according to postal service standards nor federal highway standards or anything like that, because they're actually supposed to have somewhat of a breakaway pole. Do a 2x2 block of brick or something like that. I mean, it's not going to break away too easy if somebody accidentally gets it. I really don't know the solution to it. It's really, that's why I was writing some of the letter, and Patrick was gonna look into it. I don't know if the solution is to do some kind of ordinance to delineate what kind of mailbox structure you can put up in the county and what you can't, but something like that. I understand why people want to do it. They look nice and something
It's
like that.
basically just there for decoration.
Yeah, it would be okay, I think, in a certain type of environment, like you're in a subdivision where you have curb and gutter and there's very slow traffic and, you know, people aren't, it's not a thoroughfare. Spruce Street or something like that, you know, I don't think that the safety hazard is very, very minimal. But when you're on a county local road that people drive through and drive at a faster rate of speed, and there's ditching, and there's other things, you know, it poses somewhat of a danger. My whole point in writing the letter was to make sure that the property owner understood that the county's not gonna be liable if something's happening there, it's gonna be, the liability's gonna be on the owner. I actually talked to one of
Like
the,
if you're grading and,
I'm saying if somebody hit
Hit
a
with a
kid
car.
run off the road, hit it with a car and got killed, you know, it's not a breakaway system. I mean, I'm not saying that's gonna happen, I mean, it may not be that serious, but it may be, I don't know. It could cause severe damage to a vehicle, I mean, it could cause injury. It's just not, that's why the postal service comes up with these standards. But I asked the post office and they said they really can't enforce anything like that either.
Well, what's the rules as far as mailboxes being on the county right away? They all are, aren't they?
The,
Some for each of you.
Oh, thank you.
it's different when you are on a county highway versus a local road or something that's a federal aid route. I mean, if it was on a federal aid route, there's probably some more teeth in the rules about having such a thing and having a certain kind of mailbox put up on there, but when you're on a local road, it's not a federal aid route, never will get federal funding. The local roads manual, IDOT local roads manual, pretty much gives you what it ought to be, but it's, again, it's not a law. I mean, they say what you should have, but they shouldn't, they don't really come out and say it explicitly that you can't have anything. I've talked to several other county engineers and everybody's run into the same type of situation. And the best thing I have seen is somebody came up with a letter basically sent to the property owner saying that this type of thing is really a safety hazard, any liability associated with this is on the property owner. And that kind of curves itself, I guess, sometimes, but, you know, people take that to heart and they change it out, and sometimes they don't, but it's one of those situations where there's not a, I don't know, that's why I've had Patrick review, see if he can look at the law and see if we have any avenue to enforce this. I mean, if we had an ordinance, countywide ordinance, I'd say you can enforce it, but if we don't have an ordinance on it, I don't be able to enforce it.
What's your thought as far as fixing the drainage problem we're fixing to have? Let it
Well,
wash out?
it's one of those things that, yeah, I mean, the ditch to begin with
Wasn't big enough.
wasn't a big ditch. I don't really know how much drainage comes down through there. You know, I mean, I'd have to do kind of a drainage study to figure out how much drainage comes down through there and how big the ditch needs. You know, we have to see what happens if we have a big rain and it does something. If it washes it out, or if it washes it on the road, or if it washes into property, or I wish people would check before they do stuff.
Wouldn't it
but they
make it
don't,
easier?
You know, yeah.
I have no comments.
I know. It's just, I mean, you know, we don't know what's going on until after the fact it's up.
I didn't either.
Spent a bunch of money on it, it's like, well, good grief. You know.
But, what the heck? I don't know what the answer is.
So, I don't know, if Patrick gives me some advice, maybe I'll come back.
We'll go
to
from
y'all
there.
and we'll go from there.
I suspect the water's gonna around on the blacktop side, that's my suspicion.
It probably, right on the backside, is pretty much higher than the road, isn't it?
It may go around both sides, but it's coming around one side or the other, or both, cause it ain't going through that.
okay. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
In the Metropolis Planning, they reported that Commissioner Weber didn't believe we put the plywood on the roof that we built for, and wanted to know where the plywood went, where the trash went.
Well, I
I'm
don't know.
here to answer your question.
I don't know that I,
It's written, read the paper. You implied that we maybe didn't do it.
okay, I didn't read the paper.
Well, I did, and a lot of other people do, and asked me about it. You know, if you're a farmer, and you're dishonest, you're gonna get the same corn crop, but in my business, you don't.
Well, I don't believe that I ever implied that, but go ahead with, I mean,
Well, no, it's written right here in the paper. You're opposed to paying for 1 penny more, but that's okay, that's a whole different discussion, whether you want to pay for plywood or not. But you wanted to know what was done with the wood from the roof, implying that we didn't put the wood up there we was billing for.
well, like I say, I didn't read the paper, I don't know. I mean, is that the article?
Now, it'd be easy, really, and you know, it might be a little easy to misunderstand, but we put plywood on all the vertical parapet walls. That's probably where 60% of what we billed for went to. Now, that would be a discussion whether you want to pay for it or not. That's one thing. But to indicate that we didn't put it up there is something else. And as far as where everything went, we took 3 30-yard dumpsters of debris off that roof, which would fill this room up about twice. But that's one subject. And the other one is I wonder if the commission could give any more thought to rumble strips or something on Country Club Road where it approaches North Avenue. I think it would be a
We
good thing
brought that
for,
up a lot, Orville.
I think it would be something that might be worthwhile
Joe
pursuing.
maybe have a different opinion. Glanstro didn't like them for some reason.
Well,
Wasn't effective, or I forget now what his reason was, but, and I'm not sure we brought that up to Joe, have we?
We know there's been some serious wrecks there. We've made some changes. We've had more lighting put at that intersection. There was a light that was out. Joe's put 2 signs up on North Avenue, intersection, approaching intersection, to that effect. But what it boils down to with most of the accident, well, almost every accident report, sheriff's department, is people stop and then they pull out.
Right, I've seen that happen more than once
And
myself.
we don't know if rumble strips, you know, how do you prevent a person from stopping at the stop sign unless you got a person sitting there saying, whoa, don't pull
Right.
out yet.
Yeah.
It seems like every report that's came through, that's what it's been. I mean, it has been in the past.
Driver error.
Yeah, driver, I mean, it's just they stop. I don't know if they're looking at their phone, or if they sun's in their eyes, or if they look one direction and forget to look back the other direction till they cross. I'm not for sure, but it hasn't really been an accident where we're aware of, that someone just blew through it.
Well, my daughter was involved in an accident back, it would have been late June,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the case.
Oh, it was? Okay. I
Where the
wasn't aware
elderly
of that.
couple drove right through it.
Wasn't aware of that, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
then
mean-
rumble strips would work then probably.
Yeah, and it's not just because of her accident. Living out that way, I pretty well know about it. One way or the other, you see the accidents that's happened over the years, and usually they're pretty bad accidents.
Yeah, very bad.
Because the people on North Avenue are usually going at least 50 mile an hour, if not more.
Right. So your daughter was on North Avenue and this person blew through a country club road.
Yeah, going from east to west, or coming from the country club.
Okay. Were they from out of town or they just
No,
went
I
aware?
think they were, I don't know, I can't honestly answer that, where they were from. I think they had Illinois plates, I'm not certain
Yeah.
where they were from. But it's not only that one, I've witnessed accidents there, just like the one you mentioned, where people come up and stop and then pull right out in front of somebody.
Mhm. The only person, Tim Lawson, which, him, he told me a while back or a year ago that when he first moved to this area, he wasn't familiar with it. He was going down Country Club Road, just kind of gazing, looking around,
Yeah.
and he blew right through that. He said about lost control of his vehicle because, it's kind of a hump there.
Mhm.
And he thought, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and he had suggested some rumble strips because he was new to the area and just, that road, you're going at a good rate of speed for a while, all the way from Pirates Church.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there was just a stop sign there. We're aware of it because we live here, but
Right.
a person going 50 miles an hour might not be,
Well, Jeff, you read this, what would be your, what do you think it implies?
Well, I guess it implies I wondered where the wood went up on the roof. One phone call would have saved a heck of a lot of trouble.
Well, I realize the communication thing would have been all right, and whether you feel you want to pay the bill is something else, but to imply that it wasn't put up there, I don't
know that I ever implied that. I don't read that in there. I implied that I wondered where the wood went,
Okay. Well, like I said, we removed quite a bit of debris from up there.
I would have known
Plus
that.
a lot
I
of-
would have known that had I got that one phone call.
Well, we also had a walkthrough the day before we turned in, and you were there to ask any questions you wanted. We went up on the roof with you and Gerald. If you were wondering, why didn't you ask at that time?
Well, it's covered up with roofing. How would I have known? I mean,
Well, okay, well then apparently you don't, by covered up with roofing, how would you know? So, us saying so is, not to be taken as, us telling you what we did or didn't do.
well, I don't know if it is or not, but according to the bid packet, commissioners were supposed to be notified if there was going to be X amount of dollars over and above for repair on roof decking.
Okay.
Did you not get that?
Well, that's true, and I guess we should have communicated a little better with you. But at that point, the communication wasn't done, and I apologize for that. But what I don't appreciate is it indicating in the paper that we were somehow trying to deceive you.
Well, I don't know that, I guess I understand your concern, but I was not indicating that it was not up there. My question was, where is it at?
You mean the new or the old?
New. I know some of it is in a certain area, but
Over-
I would,
Okay.
I'm a tangible guy.
I know you're busy, and I know when we did the walkthrough, and we pointed out to you that we covered every wall, parapet wall up there is covered with plywood. We attached it with, you don't just nail it on, you screw it on with concrete screws, you drill it and screw it on, but we had to do that to get a good application of the roofing.
Well, I guess I would have, maybe I'm foolish, I thought that was part of a bid. I mean, you knew
Well,
that
that's
you
the
was gonna have to do that before
Well, that's the
you.
discussion, and that's fine. If you're not wanting to pay for it's one thing, but when we did a walkthrough and showed you where we put it, and then you sat down here and want to know where it's at, that's a different story.
That wasn't the wood I was talking about. The wood I was talking about is I would have liked to have seen, I really would have liked to have seen the deck. Just because, like I said, not because I don't trust you, I'm a tangible guy. I wanna see, is this rotted? I mean, what is this?
Yeah, well, 60% was on the vertical, probably 40% what we replaced was rotted, and that was against the parapet walls and mainly over the courthouse area. But, hey, it's not the money so much as that you indicate that we didn't do the job, or we didn't put the plywood up there. That's what upset me, is the way it come across here.
Well, I don't know what the answer to your concern is.
I don't want an answer from you. let you know, and maybe be reported that the plywood up there that you question is up there. So you don't have to, you don't have to say a thing to me.
Wow, it was a learning experience for me. I would have liked to got the one phone call that would have made it, or Jason or Gerald, but, I mean, that would have saved a heck of a lot of headache. So.
I mean, do you understand what he meant by that? By the phone call?
I understand that, yes, and at the time, we had one boy taking pictures of everything we did, and he lost his cell phone, but we had some pictures of what we replaced anyway. And it was hot, and it was not always, when the work needed to be done, it wasn't, you'd find a spot here, it wasn't always
I agree
convenient to
with you
yell
there.
and run down and grab somebody, haul them up on top of the roof, and then come back and then maybe a day or later, a day or two later, run back down here and grab
I think
somebody else.
when he's talking about the phone call, what I think is, and this is all three of us, our concern was, the bid said replace the entire roof.
Remove all the roofing
And
material.
replace the entire roof, which is the white part and the foam underneath. And the way it was explained to us, the foam was a judgment call by your employees if the foam needed to be replaced or not.
Right.
Well, in the bid, it says replace 100% the entire roof. It didn't say anything in there about a judgment call, and that's where Jeff is saying, if we would've got a phone call. And
I don't doubt. I mean, if it was in great shape, hey, it makes no sense to rip stuff off that's in great shape and replace it with new stuff that's in no better shape.
Yeah, and
That's
the
common
breakdown,
sense.
the breakdown of the invoice, we credit you probably $2,000, almost $3,000 for ISO board that was good, that we didn't have to take up.
And that's fine, but I think what our concern was, us three, we wish we was in a communication. When you made that decision, we needed to be aware that that was what you were doing, because the bid said, replace the entire roof.
Right.
So that's where, when Jeff says, I wish we would've got a phone call, that's what he was, I think that's what you were indicating on that.
A little bit of communication goes a long.
Not
long
saying
way.
that you did, I'm sure you did it right, I know you did it right. But we wish we would've got that phone call, so
Well,
we would've been part of that communication.
Well,
Either if
and
you
then
called
I wish
Gerald
it
or
had been, it should have been reported in the paper that the communication, maybe it was communications and not the fact that they was insinuating that it wasn't put up there.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for Jeff, I mean, he's, he says, but this is the way I look at it, I
Sure,
just,
and that's understandable.
I just wish we would've got a
I mean,
phone call.
you guys all know me, I'm pretty easy going on almost everything, and the communication, I will admit, probably should have been better.
And you've helped us out tremendously at the sheriff's department, on a lot of things, and always been good about working with us on the bill when things were tight for us a few years back,
Well,
and
you
I
had
appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you remembering that, and I knew you had a tight budget on this, I mean, and because it was tight, we bid it to the fact that we knew you had a tight budget, I mean, and that's indicated by the other bid that was almost $25,000 to $28,000. The next closest bid to ours was $28,000 more. So, we were just trying to get it done right, and we did a lot of other extra things up there that wasn't indicated in that either, like coping, all your coping, we re-caulked all the coping around the entire courthouse up there.
I say, I don't know what coping is, but.
Well, it's
It's a
the
cat
stone,
stone.
it's that limestone you see, and there's joints between it,
Okay.
all of that was, needed to be caulked out. I mean, it'd been, being up there, it didn't take us that much more time, that kind of caulking is relatively expensive, it's about $28 a tube. But it was a judgment call too, we didn't call you about, we went ahead and did that, I mean, we could have walked off and just left a bunch of cracks up there in your coping and said, hey, your coping's bad. Well, I've had, that's just, was my concerns, and I've voiced them. That's all it was.
Over We didn't realize how that, roofing was on there, and some of them were talking about patches, and they weren't patches.
Oh, no, it's the application, it's a 60 mil
Yeah.
butyl rubber, fully glued application,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
I think we all realized you did a good job.
Well,
We're good with it.
as long as it doesn't leak, the job was good. then.
That's right.
We'll keep it from leaking. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
On
If you-
Other note, did you get in touch with Mr. Piper?
Yes, I did.
Well, I noticed he come in and straightened up some stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I got ahold of it. Well, thank you for your time, and we appreciate the work,
We'll have more,
you know,
I'm sure.
so.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Have a good